Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today is a very special day. Today is the Alchemy release day, and the client seems to not be a broken mess, which is not like most set releases. I guess it's because there aren't that many cards being added, although the cards that are being added, I'm hearing reports of being broken, so I don't know. Swings and roundabouts, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know how I really personally want to approach Alchemy. I'm kind of torn on the idea of Alchemy Standard and Historic. I kind of like the idea, but at the same time, I don't like the model required to craft the cards, because, like, 90% of them are rare and mythics for some unknown greedy reason, which gives you a reason. But, yeah, I don't know. So today we're going to be starting with a digital-only celebration, I guess, but we're going to do it in Historic Brawl, because that is definitely a more budget-friendly way of approaching this brand new set. And what better way to start it all off, but with a digital-only card as our commander. Gutmorn, Pactbound Servant, 3 mana 1/3 with Flying and Death Touch. When Gutmorn enters the battlefield, each player discards a non-land card. So that's me, that's our opponent. And whenever a player discards a card during my turn, they choose another player. That player conjures a duplicate of that card into their hand, and it perpetually gains. You may spend mana, as though it was mana of any colour, to cast this spell. So what this basically means is, on turn 3, or, funnily enough, this is one of the few times you can do this, on turn 1, with that ritual, we can play Gutmorn. Then what we're going to do is we're going to swap our worst cards over, and both of us gain access to a worst card. A lot of ours is kind of like value creatures that care about discarding, so hopefully our opponent also doesn't care about those things, otherwise it could be a little bit iffy. But it does have kind of a significant downside in that fashion for the ETB. But once Gutmorn is down and doing its thing, what it does is it turns all of our discard spells into discard a spell and then draw a copy of the spell we just discarded. So, like in a control matchup, we can discard our opponent's counter spells and gain a counter spell out of it. We can take our opponent's threats. If our opponent discards a land from something like Burglar Rat, we gain land drops out of that. Because Gutmorn's ETB says non-land card has to be discarded, but after that anything really goes, because you can, I believe you can anyway, conjures a duplicate card into their hand, it perpetually gains, you may spend mana as though, maybe it only says cast, so maybe not, I don't know. I haven't had anyone actually discard a land to this during today's video, or at least I don't think I noticed anyone doing that anyway. So maybe it does. I'm actually leaning towards maybe it doesn't, but either way, it's no big deal, because the entire deck that we have here cares about discarding. And discarding's not usually a thing that I do. You might notice a lot of my decks, even when they're running black, don't really run Thoughtseize and things like that. It's just not a play style I usually go for. But this one has pleasantly surprised me. It is a low-powered commander that goes up against other low-powered commanders, has a discard synergy that has worked surprisingly well, and all of the games have had a good back and forth for me, whether I have won or lost. There has always been kind of a close element to it, and I would highly stress, this video is very long, and it's very long for a very good reason, so I would really recommend sticking it out and watching the final game at least. That is it's a very long one. So that's honestly why today's video is a day late. It's supposed to be out on release day, but it absolutely will not be, because this video will be too long. But there you go. Anyway, on to the rest of it. So as we said, we got lots of discard. We got Thoughtseize, we got Inquisition of Kozilek. You got the usual stuff. I'm not really going to go into all of the discard spells that are in our deck. But we also have kind of discard matters cards. We got Waste Not, which gives you a zombie when they discard a creature, a double black pip mana pool addition there if they discard a land, and then drawing a card if they discard a non-creature. We've got Tiny Bones, the previous discard tribal commander, 2 mana 1/2, beginning of each end step. If an opponent discarded a card this turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life, so card advantage when we use our discard spells. It's basically what Gutmorn is as well, although I can't really decide which one I like more. I think the play pattern of Gutmorn is more entertaining than Tiny Bones, but maybe Tiny Bones is better because it comes down early. I'm not sure. What else have we got in terms of cares about discard? We do have a Silent Visitor. This one's kind of an interesting one. Since we are like discarding when Gutmorn ETBs, if we have 2 mana remaining, we can actually pay the Madness on Silent Visitor. It's the only card that does that. But it is a thing, and if a player has no cards in hand, we get to draw a card and lose 1 life, so card advantage when our opponent has no cards. Davriel has a passive here, in addition to all of the mind rotting he ends up doing. If that player has 1 or few cards in hand, deals 2 damage to them at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. We've also got the Liliana that also does the same thing, which is discard a card and any player who can't loses 3 life. It's got some removal, and then it's also got a -7, which allows us to reuse creatures over and over again. That's also pretty effective. Good old Hippie in here, discarding cards at random. And we do have a few, and this is kind of a little cool thing. We have Westgate Regent, and we have Graveyard Trespasser. Both of these have Ward, discard a card. So if our opponent tries to interact with these cards, they have to discard a card, otherwise that ability gets countered. So these guys can get out of hand quite quickly, and if our opponent is empty-handed, it makes them nigh on impossible to deal with, so that's why they're in here. We've also got Tigrid, who says whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a card, or permanent card, we get to put that from the graveyard onto the battlefield under our control, so our Thought Seizures become reanimation spells and things like that, however you want to look at it. But yeah, I'm not going to keep it much longer than that because this video is going to be extremely long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, I would really strongly recommend watching the entire video, and if you're only going to watch a bit of it, watch the final game, because there's so much good back and forth in that game that I couldn't not include it in here, even though typically longer videos like this one have pretty insane drop-off as far as viewership's concerned. So I would really appreciate it if you guys stuck through, watched all the good stuff that is in this video, and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Enjoy the video, guys. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in. We have a hand that functions, so we're going to keep it. Our opponent just mulled, so they get the new 7, and going to keep it. Playing against Clothis, God of Destiny. Hello, opponent. How about a turn 1 Gutmorn? That seems pretty good. Destroy target non-black creature will discard. So our opponent can get destroy target non-black creature, and then we can get one of their non-lands, which is going to be, looks like Finn. Not a particularly great one to give us there, but they did just get the Doomblade, which now functions. So there is that. Druid class for our opponent. It's been changed up a little bit, if you weren't aware. And I'm thinking, how does Malakia Rebirth owner's control? Yeah, so I don't own Finn the Fangbearer. I just control it. Which is definitely annoying. I think I might just go with Tome of Legends and swing, so I get the extra counter on it. Bit of an odd list for our opponent. They've got Death Touch matters, they've got extra land drops matter, in a Clothis deck as well, of all things. Ooh, that's quite nice. I think we'll fire that off right now, while we've still got Gutmorn to do a thing. So discard 2 cards, which we will then gain control over, if they are non-lands anyway. I think that's how that works. Do I get lands? Whenever a player discards a card during your turn, they choose another player. That player conjures a duplicate of that card. Ah, so I would get a land. So what did I get? Garruk Unleashed, and Ravager Worm. They're nice cards. Yeah, I'll take those. Alright, our opponent can only eat my graveyard, which is lots of non-lands, so only pings here, no ramp. They get Kendra's Transformation, so they get to redraw and turn my Gutmorn into a 3/3, which I can do very little about. I can just make it a very annoying creature, though. I think I'm okay with that. So, get in for 6. It's still my commander, even though it's a 3/3 with no abilities, so I still get the Tome of Legends trigger. Probably want to start trying to use some of these counters before our opponent finds an answer to it. Would hate to see it get naturalized real quick. Mountain for our opponent. Is this the... Oh, they haven't changed Once Upon a Time? I guess it's not a standard card, right? So they don't care. 2 turns and then I get a pretty good emblem. I'm going to start by drawing a card, see if I can get some discard, maybe. Cavalier of Night. Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep ticking up on Gutmorn. If they go after it, I can Malakir Rebirth and get that trigger. I suppose I can just play Finn? I don't know. They're actually going to go for it. Alright, so... Malakir Rebirth. How is this going to work? I don't want to... So, when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So I want to say no, because that trigger's going to go off. Fantastic. Alright. I'm going to let you have... I guess Finn the Fangbearer. Because I don't feel like I care too much about that. Our opponent's going to give me Indestructible and Hexproof protection there. That's quite nice. Appreciate that. So we can use that to keep our Gutmorn alive if we want. A Narcomancer. And Finn the Fangbearer. Ooh, T-Grid. Whenever opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a permanent, you may put that card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under control. It's pretty good. The -2 is only a -1 if after the token is produced they have more than me. Okay, so I think I want to just tick up Gutmorn. Swing in. And X3 the Meetup Massacre. Clearing that board, making sure that they need a haste creature or bust for Garruk Unleashed ultimate here. And then that's going to do some work for us. Getting all of our best creatures out. When does it trigger? Oh dear. Well, they got their Clothis, so... Grunk gets a punch. Tiny Bones. So I do kind of hate where we're at. Not gonna lie to you there. I'm kind of thinking we want to kill Sunder Shaman. And maybe minus Garruk. I could draw in order to try and find removal that's not Cavalier of Night, but that kind of leaves me a little bit in an awkward position. So I think I'm just going to do this. this. I could keep my Gutmorn in play, actually, by sacking the token, but I'm a silly sausage, so this is just how we're going to do it. Kill that. Yeah, give me a 3/3.
Unfortunately for you, they're quite hungry.
Not the cleanest of plays for us. Ugh. Okay, the Akroan War takes control of my Cavalier. Draw another land. Mana value 3 or less. Do you have one? You've got Finn and an Archamancer. I kind of want to just get Tigrid down. And just tick up and do nothing, I think. Oh, I guess I could draw a card. We've got 7 counters on the tome. Suppose we might as well. So the exile the Doomblade, taking us to 14. We have to attack into the Cavalier next turn. And the Augur. But we've got Ravager Worm to do some nonsense there. Just more lands. So if this is a non-land and we play Gutmorn, we get it into play thanks to Tigrid. Which is certainly a thing. Yeah, no sacrifice or discard other than that. Without drawing a card. I guess we could draw, because we've still got enough for Ravager Worm. Massacre Worm. Now, what do we say about Massacre Worm? It's not really going to do much for us, is it? I guess, actually, it kind of helps because we have to attack into our opponent here. So if we have to attack in, we're either going to go with Heroic Intervention. I guess we could Crippling Fear, but we can't name something in particular. Yeah, I guess we're going to go with Massacre Worm. Make our opponent's creatures too small to do anything relevant. And do this.
Dare you to stop this?
Okay. So Tigrid and the Beast token, or just the Beast token actually, right? Yeah, just the Beast token's gonna die. We get a Cavalier back. They sack a permanent, so we get that permanent. Oh, look at that! Wonderful. All right, Augur of Autumn is ours. We're drawing a Languish. Forgot entirely that that was gonna happen. Sagas. They come with downside, apparently. Old Gnawbone. That's a card. So 4/5. We can play the land off the top. We can draw the Liliana. 5 cards, so this is a -5/-5. If they block, then I can kill Old Gnawbone. Which I guess I could maybe find a way of making that happen. If I did this, I would be able to do this and this. Let's attack with all. I think they'll block with Gnawbone. Yeah, which then... guess it means I could also Heroic Intervention to keep the Massacre Worm. Yeah, sure. My stuff's safe. They're at 7. Liliana kills old Gnawbone.
Address me as queen of the dead.
They lose 2. I gain 1. They're at 5. Going up to 7. And dead on board, really. Pretty good chance that they're dead on board. This was a very interestingly clunky matchup, I've got to say. But it was a fun one. It was a fun one for sure. So, nothing happens there. Our opponent loses. We give trample to one of our creatures. We put our opponent to 5. Is it 5? It's 4 with Liliana. Ravager Worm kills Anax, creating a token that can't block, swing through, and win the game. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Good showing for the deck, at least, so on to the next one. Alrighty then, we're in, and it's hard to say whether or not this is a bad matchup or not. It certainly isn't ideal that we play our Gutmorn into their Nicol Bolas, since this is a synchronous effect. Whenever I discard a card, oh no, it's only during my turn, so they'd have to discard, like, Colligan's command, I think, right? Yeah, I think that's the idea. It's hard to say. It's a weird, wordy card. But, yeah, Gutmorn can come down next turn then, I guess. And then we can probably watch it die. Opponent did get their Nicol Bolas down nice and early anyway. Yeah, let's just dump a Swamp here, I think. Swamp's fine to discard. We get to go Lochthwain. What am I going to give my opponent? Probably the Graveyard Trespasser, I suppose, since I can kill it. So they get a Graveyard Trespasser. I get a Jace Unraveler of Secrets. Nice. That's a good card. Opponent's deck is full of discard though, so it's hard to say whether or not we'll keep it for very long. Certainly won't be having our Gutmorn live for very long. If they let it live and they attack through, they didn't. Alright. Yeah. Am I conceding now? I feel like I'm conceding now. This is just a horrid matchup.
I think I know what to do.
So I've just given my opponent a card and fueled another. And essentially gained nothing out of it. I can't play a creature card that matters here. Can't trigger Raider's Wake in a relevant way. So yeah, I think I'm conceding. I'm certainly not going to be minusing Jace on their Nicol Bolas, so yeah, 3-minute game, 3-minute loss, moving on. Oh, good lord. We're up against a deck that really, really appreciates me ET being my commander, so there is that. We're going to keep this one, though. I suppose in this regard, though, it is Olivia Crimson Bride, 6 mana, 3/4. When it attacks, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains when you don't control a legendary vampire, exile this creature. So I can attack Olivia on that axis, so it's not the worst, but you got to imagine their deck's full of reanimation spells and things like that. So I would like to get my Gutmorn down nice and early. I think that would be ideal. So let's go Cold Steel Heart on black, and then pass the turn. I could put it on red. I don't have any triple black other than what's its face. And if I get a card that has a red activated ability from my opponent, I might actually regret not doing this. So let's actually stick it on red. Culane. Alright. I get Phyrexian Arena. So I can start drawing extra cards, which is a thing I might want to do. I have no lands, so Making land drops is nice. I do appreciate doing that from time to time. So let's do that. Phyrexian Arena, go. 4 mana for our opponent. And Solemn Simulacrum, keeping our opponent still on 4 mana, but they get a 3/3 here. Hit me for 1, sure. Alright, come on, lands. Good stuff. Awesome. Alright, well, here's Gutmorn. I can discard a non-land card. I'm going to give you Acquisitions Expert, because I guess I get to pick what Acquisitions Expert shows you anyway. And I don't really care to give you the rest. I'm going to probably want to have this Crux of Fate to fire off sooner rather than later. So our opponent put an Extinction Event in their graveyard, so I get that. That really helps me, because that's even and even, so very nice. And also even. And even. Yeah, I don't know about the Extinction Event, unless you can discard it. Seems not great. Hit me for 3, I accept. Acquisitions Expert. Please discard my... We're gonna go Burglar Rat? Maybe Asylum Visitor. Yeah, let's just do Asylum Visitor. It's a shame I can't cast it, but there you go. Land, please. That's not a land. That is, though. Alright. So yeah, I kind of think Extinction Event's pretty good here. I could go with the Burglar Rat. If they kill in response, I don't get the value I really dream of out of that. But I think that's okay. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do this uneven. Pretty sweet 3 for 1. Our opponent can attack in with Olivia, but if they do, they don't get anything from it. So I think... I would actually, I think, prefer to trade my Gutmorn for Olivia if they attacked him with it. So it's less so about getting any points there. Ooh, they foretold a card. Oh, we got our land. Fantastic. The lands are finally flowing. Let's go with... Should we start with Midnight Reaper? Let's do Burglar Rat. Burglar Rat, let them discard and then I'll Graveyard Trespasser if they discard a creature they'd like to reanimate. So there's a Prankle. Thank you. It was Poison the Cup. Which I say deal. The trigger's already on the stack, so I already get a Prankle in my hand, which we can sack Burglar Rat on. So absolutely put that in the command zone. Absolutely give me a Prankle. And then... yeah. Just checking it in exile. It's a new card. I still have to kind of double check that I understand the card. And yeah, let's get rid of Prankle. RJ can make some blood tokens. Got Agadeem's Awakening and Baleful Mastery. So that is a legendary vampire, so that kind of insulates them with Olivia's game plan. If I was to give them another one of these cards, which one would I give them? I would play my land for the turn. I don't know. That's the tough point with this deck, is it often leaves you in a position where you don't really want to give your opponent any of these cards. I guess I can give them Blood Vial Purveyor. They got rid of a card. Have you got Menace? You don't have Menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. Yeah, I guess I'll give them Blood Vial Purveyor. And I get a Judith. It's quite a nice one. Yeah, so I mean, I could trade to get rid of the Demon Loathing or the Judith. I don't particularly care about either of them. I think because I've got Murderous Rider here and Baleful Mastery, I can deal with them. Ooh. Rude. Yeah, we'll take the action on that one. I do have the Agadeem's Awakening, which can do some stuff. Ooh, Predatory Sludge. That's a good one. That is a good one. Alright. This permanent, please. When it dies, I get a Predatory Sludge. So I'm going to kill it. And get a Predatory Sludge in my hand. Nice. Play land, pass the turn. Our opponent's still stuck on 5 mana. I'm sure they're really not appreciative of that. I do need to be a little bit careful here, though, because I am kind of skirting a fine line. One being at 10 life now. And also the fact that they can haste in Olivia at any time is kind of very dodgy. Our opponent decides to scoop it up there. I don't know if I would, personally. I guess I do have Agadeem's Awakening, which I can do X4, right? Yeah, I could do X5, really. So I can get Acquisitions Expert, I can get the Purveyor, I can get the Trespasser, or just the Burglar Rat, something like that. So I can get quite a lot back with my Agadeem's Awakening. Struggling a little bit with a life total, though. That's kind of the issue here. And I also have access to Sludge the Purveyor into Removal Spell, get another Sludge, and I can play the Murderous Rider as a little bit of life gain, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know if I would have scooped there. I think maybe they scooped because they were on 5 mana. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. Not that big of a deal at all. I think that's winnable for them. Either way, on to the next one. Well, there's a commander I haven't seen in a long time. And a hand that I'm unsure about. I think I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I think if I can get Liliana down, she at least takes a card out of her opponent's hand, and that's okay. We're up against Athreos Shroud Veiled, 6 mana 4/7, one of my personal favourite enchantment creature gods. 6 mana 4/7 with Indestructible, and we're going to play a Swamp and Go. And it says, as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. The beginning, rude. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So it's Mr. Steal Your Stuff, basically. I'm going to go with a Glint Sleeve Siphoner here. They took my Liliana, which was basically my entire game plan with this hand. So that's not great. I have no discard for Gutmorn to do anything good. When it eliminates, yeah. I mean, it is creature removal tribal over there, so it's not much to expect. That isn't happening right now. I think I'm just going to go Tiny Bones and play Hagramauling tapped. I want to make sure that I'm at 5 mana. And Tiny Bones kind of performs similar duties to Gutmorn anyway, but is a much better removal spell target in my opinion. Which no doubt they will have, because that's the entire deck. I do like Athreos. It doesn't see too much play. It's a bit too slow and dirtly in general, but with the matchmaker balancing it, it might not be the worst thing in the world either. So, Purveyor is kind of a 4-mana do-nothing if they have removal. Sludge is definitely a 3-mana do-nothing, because they have no permanents that I can interact with. Good lord, they've discarded me more than I have them, and I'm the actual dedicated discard deck. Who do you take? I'm gonna go with the Sludge. Opponent hates new cards. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna Gutmorn. I'll use this Rakshasa, because it doesn't do anything on your side. And then you can give me Lolth. Are you seriously giving me Lolth? That can't be good. They either have discard or they have reanimation for the one they've just put in the graveyard. There's no way you give me Lolth and don't have an answer to it. Alright. 5 mana. Ping me for 1. Well, so far, so good. We're going to go with Lolth here. -3.
My power is for annihilation.
Could offer to trade with the Rakshasa, but I kind of want Gutmorn around for my next 2 draws, perhaps. The issue is now the Athreos is playable off of a land here. An untapped land, more specifically, so that's okay. And it interacts in a way that my deck is not built to defend. So, I mean, they're not going after me, so actually do I just, like, take 5? I don't think I do. Just take 5 here, I ain't a coward. Mindstone's a bad card. We draw another. Swamp's like a Mindstone. I think maybe we go Concealing Curtains. We see what that card is. If we really hate it, we can get rid of it. Otherwise, we can just leave it right where it is. I mean, if we love it, we can also own it. Kaya's Wrath. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have my board state around, I think. This way, I get to choose when the Wrath goes off. We are going to block with the Spider token, so I'm going to leave 1 back. So now they can go with Athreos, sticking coin counters all over the place. There's another reason why I didn't really want our opponent having this card, is because they can stick coin counters on basically their entire board and get board wipe protection. Which is definitely not something I'm interested in. But this is also, in a roundabout fashion, kind of a do-nothing card. The Rakshasa can't actually block, so leaving it back doesn't make too much sense. Well, all the lands. Let's crack a Mindstone since we have all the lands. There's Murderous Rider. So, Menace. Let's do, like, that. I want to keep, like, a removal spell protection kind of block here, so I keep my Lolth around. But I guess I also have Lolth, so yeah, maybe this is just the attack. We're up onto 15. Could play the Purveyor. It is a lot of damage next turn, but it doesn't allow me to hold up a Murderous Rider. But I would be holding it open to kill the Rakshasa to keep my Lolth around, I think, so yeah, I think this is okay. They need 2 removal spells or a board wipe, I guess. Ugin the Ineffable. Okay. Kills the Revealing Eye. So they gain control of that, but it's 3 to activate. And Authority. And scoops it up. Right, because I'm attacking for 7, 8, 9. I get Lolth to draw me some more cards. I can get a blocker out the way here with the Murderous Rider. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13. Their opponent's at 2. Yeah, I don't know if I could actually kill them. I can get them pretty dang close, though. So, sweet. On to the next one. Ooh, this one could be an interesting matchup. I'm going to keep this hand because it duresses the crap out of our opponent and makes them discard. I do need a third land. We're against Thassa Deep Dwelling. So the reason why I kind of think that this might be a pretty good matchup is, one, I get to just go straight into their hand. Do I want to duress or Thoughtseize? I guess I can start with Thoughtseize. You know, I don't have a chance of whiffing on that. If I leave my opponent with basically nothing but counterspells, then Gutmorn ETBs gives our opponent a counterspell to discard, and I get one, which is a way of fighting Thassa a little bit here. I think I might just take some of the counterspells, though, to be honest. It's hard to say. Maybe it's Arcane Signet. Yeah, probably Arcane Signet, because that gives them nothing to do next turn. Sweet. Alright. Then I can go with, I guess, Duress, see what that new card is, otherwise take a counterspell, perhaps. I'm happy with a Mana Rock, honestly. Yeah, let's see what that other card is. I know I can hit here, so... Mystical Dispute. That's always going to be a counter unless you pay 3. So I suppose I would much rather get rid of... I think Wizard's Retort, because my graveyard matters. These Mana Rocks aren't going to matter if you can't cast them. See if they drew a land here. They did. And they're going to go with Midnight Clock. Fair enough. That will eventually refill their hand, so it is certainly worth doing something like that. You can have a Acquisitions Expert. And I can just show them a swamp. So I get a Mystical Dispute here, which I'm not going to be able to use just yet. But will become relevant. Let's see if they want to go with Thassa here. I would think that that would be their line. They want to get it down now so that later on, when they resolve a creature, they can get that value. Right, so I can do... Does this actually generate me mana? I think this is at the... Yeah, this is at the net negative at the moment. Let's go with Burglar Rat, allowing me to leave open Mystical Dispute, and giving me one of those 4 cards. Gonna give me the Acquisitions Expert. So I could get a Mana Rock or a Counterspell off them, or an unknown card. Would I rather hold open my Counter Magic? I think I would. I think I'll wait on the Acquisitions Expert for now. This deck's so fun. It's not the most powerful deck in the world. In fact, I would imagine it's on the lower end of power, but still, playing through all of these lines, it seems very wrinkly-brained, to say the least. It feels like every single play I make can matter. Even the plays our opponent's making are going to matter very, very greatly. So they've got 3 mana they can counter. I can counter back. So I think I want to start with Acquisitions Expert, I suppose. If they don't counter this, I probably get a counter spell or a following card. So do I fight this, knowing that Mystical Dispute's losing its value quite quickly? I think I do. I want to see what that card is that they've got. It's another counter spell, then I'm not going to really lose out on much here. It was a Baron. Okay, Baron's pretty good. I'll have that. Yoink. Hit you for 2. Our opponent's on top decks. I can draw them a card with Baleful Mastery, which isn't a downside, considering I prefer our opponent have cards in hand. Field of Ruin for our opponent. They can hit my Cabal Stronghold. Okay. And they can do some tapping as well. That is another thing they have access to. So I'm just going to go Phyrexian Arena here. I think I'll hold these cards. Float this in case it matters. In case I change my mind about the Baron. Yeah, once they get another brand new 7 cards, then I'm going to want to have these options available to me, like bounce, using Baron to bounce Acquisitions Expert or something like that. They get 1 tap here, so they're taking 2. I'm drawing 2 cards a turn now. Yeah, I think I'm holding Baron. They do get to gain a life every turn with the Altar of the Pantheon, so they should be floating that mana, if not just spending it. Yep, there we go. The little things, they do end up mattering. Like our opponent getting a brand new set of cards. The Phyrexian Arena is definitely going to help with that. What's our opponent planning on doing here? Just holding Sulundi Isle and playing it as a land. Fair enough. Choosing not to dig for a playable here. Alright, so we're going to take 1 damage. Draw an extra card. Again, it will help us keep up with what our opponent's doing. I can play Tiny Bones... and then maybe Elspeth's Nightmare, which gives me the Chapter 2 on the turn that they get the Midnight Clock. So this will have a target, almost certainly. So they can either fire it off now and I can have a look immediately, or they can wait until it naturally ticks to the Midnight Clock. I think this is how it works anyway. I think theirs resolves before mine does. I guess we'll find out, won't we? Yeah, it's a matter of time till we find out. Opponent not bothered about tapping with Thassa here. If they activate, it's not going to be relevant. Yeah, there we go. It's one of the mechanics in Magic the Gathering I've never been bothered to learn. Is whose goes on the stack first. It's so very rarely relevant. But they've got 7 cards now. Let's see what they can do with them. I get to duress one of them on my turn. They've lost Agent of Treachery. It is a banned card now, which is absolutely awesome. No more Ugin the Spirit Dragon as well. Best decision Wizards have ever made. But they do still have Mass Manipulation. That's still on my list of tilt-inducing cards. So let's hope that we don't see that. Even if we did, I can't even remember how it's worded. I think they take 2 of my permanents, like 2 of my creatures, so they take like Tiny Bones and Gutmorn or something. Which I would hate. With a Burning Passion, I mean, Baron could help me bounce one of them back. But it's still not great tempo for me. I think that's what they have. The way that they're eyeing up my creatures here. It's Shark Typhoon Hardcast. Wow, okay. And then maybe a bounce spell? Hardcast Shark Typhoon. That can be pretty bad for us, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe our opponent can help us out with answering that. What have you got in there? If you've got a bounce spell, you want to get rid of it, otherwise this Shark Typhoon's doing very little for you. And then I get to Inquisition as well. Yeah, they got an Into the Royal... What is that, bouncing Phyrexian Arena? Okay. Bit of an odd choice. Choose 2 target creatures owned by different players. Return those creatures to their owner's hand. That's really good for me. Yeah, I think that's what I'm taking here. So let me at that. Thank you. I will bounce your token and my I guess my burglar rat. So no more token for you. Let's Inquisition you. Taking the counter unless you pay 4. I could take the Gadwick. Good old Chadwick. I think the counter unless you pay 4 is fine though. Stops the Meteor Golem, which could be pretty brutal. And then I need to leave that open, so let's just swing for 3. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Draw a card. Ooh, Davriel. That's a good one. Alright, so how do they want to do this? They know that they can't... It's counter unless you pay 4. Did I say 4? I think I said 3, because it's 3 mana. They have to do Chadwick with 4 mana remaining, if that's the line they want to take. Otherwise, you know, the Bone to Ash is useless. The Meteor Golem is counterable. So really it is only this as an option. And I kind of want to make them pay for it. Because it's not really going to give them anything to do on their turn. And Flickering Gadwick doesn't do anything either. So they draw a card. Animate Thassa. Admittedly, that can be a bit problematic. Yep, takes 6. Alright. Exile their graveyard. Can't imagine that's relevant. Guess if they've got I can't even remember what its name is. The land that cares about islands. That one. If they've got that one, it could be relevant. Right, so I can make them discard 2 cards here. I can Baron bounce Thassa. Bloodchief says killing Gadwick. Oh, that's a tough one. It is a tough one. So, Burglar Rat discard, Davriel discard. 3, 5. I get 3 mana. I get at least one of these 2 cards. It's probably going to be the Bone to Ash. I think that's what I'm doing. So opponent discards a card. I get it. I think if they give me the Bone to Ash, I have to seriously consider not doing anything else. It's actually a Perilous Mia. A Palladium Mia, sorry. Okay. Davriel, make you discard.
Dealing with you would be easier than
I either get a Bone to Ash or I get a Meteor Golem.
that.
Definitely the Bone to Ash. Makes sense. And then I have to hold up and Baleful Mastery for the Golem. Right, because there's nothing else I can really do that's relevant. Maybe Baron bouncing Thassa is a thing. I guess that could work, yeah, sure. Bounce your Thassa so that they can only get 1 activation of Meteor Golem, which they're going to get anyway. And then maybe I can discard Thassa, get my own Thassa, and now I can start flickering, you know, Acquisitions Experts and things like that. Draw a card. Nixithid, nice. That'll close out a game quite quickly if I can push it through. I'm assuming, like, Meteor Golem comes down and kills Davriel. Because it is just a free card draw for me. And persistent passive aggression. Suppose you could always go Gutmorn. If you assume Davriel's only going to hit once more here. But it has the passive, so you've got to be very aware that that is a thing. Gonna go with the Gutmorn. Okay. I think this is the first time it's died, right? So it'll cost 5. Okay. Liliana Dreadhorde General. If I went Gutmorn and discarded, and our opponent had a land in hand, I get to play the land and hold up and Bone to Ash for the Thassa. If I play this... I think Gutmorn discard's okay. They have an Essence Scatter, okay. Could have been better. But I get to command attacks the Thassa because I make them discard it. Uh-huh. Isn't ideal, honestly. Liliana, I guess, on the minus would have been better, in hindsight. So, discard, Thassa.
A mind is a terrific thing to waste.
So that costs 6 now. It is a creature on the stack, so Shark Typhoon won't benefit from it. I'm thinking about how I want to deal with Meteor Golem now. Because I do want to deal with it, but do I want to deal with it after they draw a card? Or before they draw a card and let them draw a card? Because I could give them a better option if I'm not careful. Ooh, a Waste Not. I will discard this Palladium Mirror, I think. Ping you to 14. They've got a card. It could be a counterspell. If it's a counterspell, it's going to be really brutal. They get to do some tapping. It's non-land permanent, so they can only tap my blockers. They'll probably want to make me block with Tiny Bones if they can make it work. Which, probably they could make it work. Again, I want to give them the ability to tap my stuff off of drawn spells as late as possible. So, like, I'm going to block the Gadwick and try to kill the Meteor Golem. Since that hopefully should leave them with very little to do, but this deck's full of counter spells, so yeah. That's a worst case scenario. So I'm losing my Davriel, I'm losing probably my Tiny Bones, I'm losing my Burglar Rat, and our opponent's board state looks very nice. I'm at 9. I need a sweeper here. Need a sweeper. Ow. I did not get a sweeper. I'm taking 5 in the air. They've got tappers left, right, and center. I think that's me dead. I could do Nixathid. Bloodchief's Thirst, maybe one of the tokens. Or does it have to be the Gadwick? I guess it doesn't really matter if it's the Gadwick or not because the Thassa can tap, so I guess I'll take care of the token. Then I need 4 mana open for Bone to Ash, because if they draw more creatures, I'm so dead. Waste Not's just not doing anything. Phyrexian Arena will kill me at this stage, so yeah, pass the turn. Not sure I could have played this much better. The drawing of the neutralize there was very brutal and exactly what they needed in that scenario. So beginning of combat, tap down my team. Aha! So forcing a block here. I'm going to lose my Nyxothid to Thassa's end step. And not playing into the Bone to Ash, giving me so much less to do with my turn. I'm going to have to lock Thwain. And it's a land. So goodbye Nyxothid. Imagine if that Meteor Golem... Oh! Oh! Don't you dare have a counter spell. Don't you dare. If it's a spell pierce, I'll want to play around that. So I only have to do an X5 here. They won't have pump spells. And I'm not going to bother attacking in because it's almost certainly not relevant. Is it a hard counter? Oh my goodness. They could still have instant speed plays, so after this goes off, they can flash in something and get a Shark Typhoon doing its thing. I'm going to gain some life here and hit them for 1, so I'm at 6. Yeah, 1 mana short of Bone to Ash, annoyingly. So I guess I'm just going to play a Waste Not. So you're saying there's a chance... They didn't have the counter for the Meat Hut Massacre. They drew a land. Is Liliana coming down here? Having Liliana available to pick off sharks is going to be very, very useful. I've also got the Gutmorn as well, which combined with the Waste Knot is going to do a thing. What thing it will do is to be determined. It is 7 mana, so it's kind of expensive. Opponent floats the mana, they don't gain the life because they don't have a Thassa in play. This smells like a big draw spell to me. Could also just be them floating the mana rock because they think I might be able to remove it somehow and what they have left in their hand matters. Not the case though. So if I play Gutmorn, I take whatever that card is, but I give them a card. I don't want to give them any of these cards. So I just play Liliana here then, in that case. Liliana, leave open Bone to Ash.
This looks like a fun new toy.
So no creature can resolve here unless they drew a counter spell, but I'm not sure they did. I don't know. Priority did pass when they had 2 mana open, which can happen if they have a counter spell. Come on, Liliana, I need you to carry me here. I need you to get to that ult, so hopefully our opponent gives us no reason to tick down. But if she does, then that's fine, because I'm going to draw cards off of my zombie tokens. And I'm going to stay alive that way. Okay. Wow, this game. Do I lock Thwain? I don't think I do. I think that's so greedy. It was fine earlier. Is it fine now? Not so sure about that. This now gives me Gutmorn plus thing, but again, I don't want to give my opponent the Phyrexian Arena. Let me swing first, because I'm unsure how I want to use Liliana. If they make a shark token, I want to minus. So I don't want to tick up preemptively. Alright. No immediate shark token. I guess I'll go up, since I can't interact with flash spells that way anymore. Yeah. I guess I'm hoping to draw like a bad card so I can get Gutmorn down. Opponent's got a Brazen Borrower, which will make them a 2-2. Liliana is safe. The Brazen Borrower itself can get countered. Which I think I'll do, because it redraws for me. I don't particularly mind if it didn't resolve there, because Liliana can still take 2 creatures out. So I'm going to need another little bit of help from the magic gods here. I need our opponent to not have a counterspell. Either this card or the next, so that I can minus Liliana to get rid of the shark token, or draw a removal spell. Or both. Both would also be fine. So we're going down to 4. I can no longer lock Thwain. They're just going to pass. They had a playable. I don't think that can possibly be a counterspell unless it's Archmage's Charm. Or maybe you come across a secret lair or whatever the hell it's called. Ooh, Nighthawk Scavenger. That's a nice one. Certainly not one I'm going to give my opponent. So let's see what happens with Liliana here. We hold priority, but that's Thassa. That's Thassa all over. I cannot Nighthawk Scavenger expecting to block. So I'm going to swing for 2. Swing with 2 for 4. And then minus Liliana. This should hopefully draw me cards to find out what that card in their hand is. Gaining me life as well, very relevant. Meathook carrying this game. Ooh. Waste not, want not. Alright, let's play Nighthawk Scavenger. There's a 4-3. I've got Hagra Mauling open now and Power Word Kill. Opponent goes up to 8. Still on a 2-turn clock. They tap. I guess if they could create a shark there and then draw a counterspell, I would still lose. I think every single turn there's been a line our opponent could have where we just lose. Alright, Shark Typhoon makes a 3-3. A 4-3. Looks like they're just going to pass here, so I'm going to attempt to kill. I guess I could play around Dwari's Disruption with Power Word Kill, so I'll do that. And Spell Pierce. Gain 1 life up to 6. What a game. What a game. This only cares about swamps. So I could give them it with a Gutmorn. Still want to know what that card is. Well, let them tap with Thassa. If they tap with Thassa, that kind of rules out some cards. Not sure what cards it rules out because they've got 5 mana to play with, but I guess it rules out Sublime Epiphany. There you go. I think that's the card they would have already played though, given the chance. What do I think about playing Dread Presence? I think I like the idea of doing that. Ticking up with Liliana. They get a tap with Thassa. I can hold up in the Mauling. So there's still a Shark token taken care of here. Just taps the 2-2 specifically. Interesting. I'm not going to say it, but I think you all know what I'm thinking. I think you know what I'm thinking. Flood of Tears. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. Okay. Sure. That's a thing. Put Shark Typhoon back into play, I guess. Yeah. And then they can make a 3/3. It's not as bad of an oh-no situation as I would think. I am still wondering what I do with Phyrexian Arena. Do I give them it now that they're at 8? Would they even want to play it if I gave it to them? Okay, they're at... they make a 3/3. I'm probably just going to Hagra Mauling it. Just straight up, yeah, straight up kill that, I think. It's fine. Definitely not Lockthwaining. Concealing Curtains. Reveals their hand, choose a non-land from among it and discard it, and then they draw. I could finally see what that unknown card is. Would I care? I guess if it's a non-creature, non-land, I draw a card. If it's a land, I gain mana. Basically making the waste not for free. And if it was a creature, then I gain the 2/2 zombie. Guess it's worth looking at. Well, they definitely don't have a 2-mana counterspell. Let's see what you got. I may choose as well. It's a Cyclone Summoner. Giants, Wizards, and Lands. So it's... do I want a zombie token or a zombie token? How much do I even care about these cards? This is a 3/3 Shark. I guess I sort of care about Cyclone Summoner, but at the same time, I kind of know that all of these cards aren't going to do anything. Ugh. It's a sketchy line here. I could make them play it by going Liliana. I think I'll make them play it. Once they've played it, then I can interact with it. And it's quite a hefty amount of mana to do it, and I think it bounces the Shark Typhoon as well, right? All permanents, yeah. So all that hard work effort there to get the Shark Typhoon into play is just undone with the Cyclone Summoner. All these sharks go away as well. So Thassa. I'd love to know what that unknown card is, so if the game would be kind enough to give me a way of finding out. They didn't. I guess Maze Mind Tome could. Do I have potential lethal here? I swing in with Revealing Eye. Unless they tap it. Do you tap it? You do not tap it. So I swing in with Revealing Eye, taking them down for 3, putting them on 5. I could put them on 2 with Meat Hut Massacre killing my own creatures here. Which I think I'm going to attempt. So I definitely don't want the Shark token around. So do I want to X4 it, put our opponent to 2, and then... did I make a land drop? Yeah, then Dread Presence could get me the land to win the game. So let's do X4. They've got taps available, which is the priority, might be getting held here. They've got Disdainful Stroke. Uh-oh. That's extremely bad. Extremely bad. Maze Mind Tome. Because Thassa taps here, and they've got lethal in the air. Draw a card. Please be removal. It's not removal. Oh, no! Oh, no! Why? Oh... Yeah, that's it. I can play Scavenger, and maybe they don't know they can tap, but they're good gaming me. I'm gonna wait for them to tap it. Wow. It was a very good game, though, so the moment they tap the Scavenger, I'll give them a GG back. And... yep, there it is. Good game. They saw the line. Oh, man. So many turns there where we could have lost, and so many turns where we could have won. Yep. Disdainful Stroke. That must have been what they were holding the entire time. I imagine there's a few occasions where they had that 2-mana open, they couldn't cast it. Oh, man. So if I hadn't have gone with Meat Hut Massacre, had I already Liliana'd by that point? Because I think I was planning on ticking up so I had more triggers for the Meat Hut Massacre. But maybe I should have just gone for the minus to draw some extra cards there. I mean, which one was the riskier line, really? That's the question. I just didn't think they would have had the interaction there. I thought I was perfectly safe making that line, but yeah, it wasn't meant to be, and ended up having a fantastic game nonetheless. 40 minutes long, good lord. I enjoyed today's video, it's extra long. Yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. This was an absolute banger of a game, and pretty much a banger of a commander as well. He's not that powerful, but the deck strength matchmaking in Magic Arena has always been pretty good for Historic Brawl, so, you know, you're always in for a good matchup. I do recommend playing this deck if you're into, like, the Tiny Bones, discard decks and things like that. Highly recommend it. But yeah, take care, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day.